Welcome to Tides Within, a space for honest conversations about mental and physical well being and how we can care for ourselves in real life. Hi, welcome back to Tides Within. In the spirit of International Women's Day this month, we are going to shift our topic towards the body. We have already covered mental load, burnout, the invisible labor, and so today, let's talk about our body. Hello, ladies, come and join us. So we are typically strong, and so we believe women are strong. We build, we nurture, we lead. But somewhere along the way, we learn to prioritize everything except our body. So let's ask ourselves an honest question. Why do so many women wait until it hurts before they take action? So let's talk about the culture of pushing through. I've noticed that a lot of people, especially women building careers, families, businesses, we ignore our bodily needs. While celebrating productivity and resilience, we rarely celebrate recovery. Taking the time to pause and look after ourselves, as Dr. Lina mentioned in the last episode, when a vehicle is pushed through without being serviced regularly, it stops functioning. And I like to share my own experience in building my businesses and my nonprofit foundation. Because there is just so much to do, there were times where I put aside my workout sessions. I used to work out like 2 hours a day, every day. But then it took a toll on me eventually because I put it aside. And so I didn't have the stamina and the strength that I used to. I used to be able to do headstands and swim 20 to 30 laps each time when I was stronger. I started to lose hair and had more premature gray hair, which I'm very obsessed about, which I do not like, okay? And it's a personal preference. Some people are okay and they accept it. To me, no, I don't. And so now I take mindful breaks and I only push through the absolute high priority tasks because everything else can wait the next day, God willing. So if you notice that sometimes I don't have much personal content on my social media, that's me taking a break from content creation and focusing on the more important things in my life, like running my business, my foundation, and being present with my family. As some of you might know, I travel extensively due to my nature and work. So this is why my breaks are important. And so I think that ambition without body awareness is unsustainable. Now let's shift it to Dr. Lina. From a medical standpoint, what are women most neglecting when it comes to physical health?
Michelle. So I actually just wanted to add on what happened to like Michelle. I think most of us, women especially, go through these moments, or some people are still going through these moments. So I actually wanted to share with our listeners. So me myself, I have experienced the similar thing like you, Michelle. So I had this thing where I do exercise a lot. So I would try to spend 2 hours a day, and if I can't like 2 hours a day consecutively, I will try to at least do 1 hour like in the morning and then 1 hour in the evening. Basically, sometimes even more than 2 hours. But what happened is when I actually shift from working and then I went to my full-time studies, I had to take more responsibility of taking care of my daughter, and because we moved in into a new country, so we didn't have like a car. We didn't have a car, so I have to walk her to the school, get back, bring her back from the school. I have to cook at the same time, do my assignments. I have to prepare myself for the exams. I had so many things on my plate that I did not exercise. And I do agree that it took a total toll on my body. I think I went into like a burnout where I started feeling very tired that I don't even have energy to do the basic things. Like
Mm-hmm.
even sending her to school make me tired. So that's where I think it's very nice for us, like, sharing. So to all women who's listening this, I mean, all of us will go through something. So make sure, I think we have said this many times, look back at the schedule. You can't be 100% all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's good to actually like reserve some energy for yourself, take a
Yes,
break.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back into the topic that you have asked. I think this is a very important part that we have to address. being as a woman, I think most of us actually we are, I would say, neglecting our health. We
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that simple symptoms that could be meaning something, because we just like, oh, it's okay, this could be just normal. Oh, I'm just being tired. Okay, so I would like to start usually from the main issue of health that we have is in terms of cardiovascular disease.
Mm-hmm.
Cardiovascular means basically talking about our heart. So usually, right, whenever we talk about heart, people will always think, oh, heart attack. Those typical heart attack that we see in our dramas, people will be holding their chest on the left side and like not in pain and they just like collapse. So that will be like that's the common thing or thoughts that people will have, like the community has about heart or cardiovascular disease. So it is actually not the same for everyone, especially for women. So all that to share actually is when it comes to women, the symptom doesn't mean that it has to be a pain on the left side of the chest. Some people can be just, especially in the woman, they can be just be presented like a pain at the back of their shoulder. Sometimes they just feel like there's a gastric pain, like more like a reflux. Some people will say, I think I'm having reflux, like more like a burning kind of pain. And or even sometimes even they just feel pain over their jaw or even their head. So it doesn't mean that the symptom of a heart attack must be a pain on their chest. So that's why actually if you go to the hospital, even when someone complaining of having a shoulder back pain or even a left arm pain or jaw pain, we will do what we call as an ECG, making sure that the heart is safe, especially in women. So women have different presentation compared to men. Men, yes, they tend to be presented with the left typical kind of a left-sided chest pain, but in women is different. So I hope that listeners who's listening today, whoever have ever experienced this, especially if you're above 40 years old, who already has diabetes or who has hypertension, and maybe if you're a smoker, please get it checked. Means it sometimes means something. But we tend to neglect, sometimes when you have like a shoulder back pain, right? So you'll be like saying, oh, maybe I slept wrongly. That's very
Yeah.
normal that we'll think. I think I slept. So I just want to share my own mom's experience. So my mom had a back pain, more like a shoulder pain, but it was a very severe pain that she could not stand up, and that made her to go to hospital. So
Wow.
yes, she did had an ongoing myocardial infarct, a major one, major heart attack when she had the pain, and because we brought her to the immediately to the hospital, and we were there, I think within 10 minutes on arrival when she had that ongoing pain, and yes, and she was brought to the lab immediately.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
saying that don't take a simple like a shoulder back pain, but doesn't mean that oh all the time that I'm having a shoulder
Yeah, I
pain,
was just gonna ask you that.
I'm having heart
When do
attack.
you know?
Yeah, so even to say that, like when we talk about heart attack, so there's like a minor heart attack, we have a major heart attack. So major heart attack is the one which you need to go to the lab, where some people even have like bypass and some angiograms will immediately be done. But there's also minor heart attack. Minor heart attack basically before a major heart attack happens. So it is like more of like the smaller vessels. It's a blockage
Mm-hmm.
in your smaller vessel which causes, yeah. So even that could actually shows the symptom like having this back pain. But usually this, when I say the back pain, it comes and goes. It lasts maybe like a few hours and it becomes worsening. Like
Okay.
maybe last time you used to have it like once a month, now it becomes like maybe twice a week. Usually it will cause some sort of pain that you feel that something is wrong with your body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so
sorry,
yeah.
this pain would be on the left side of your back or would be anywhere in the back?
So usually we expect to be on the left side because our
Okay.
heart is on the left side, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean it has to be like specifically on the left side. But
Okay.
it can be just maybe even I would say like on your like blade of your shoulders.
Yes.
Yeah, it can also be there. Yeah, so it
Okay.
doesn't mean that it has to be on left side, but we will prioritize more if it's on left sided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because our heart is located on the left side
Yeah,
of the
it's on the left.
chest. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that if the pain is quite frequent, then that's a signal we should get it checked, right?
Yeah, and sometimes even I would say there were more symptoms. Sometimes you feel nauseated, you can start vomit, and some people will even experience like shortness of breath. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like associated symptom with. So sometimes it's not only the chest pain, or I would say all that back pain and left arm pain, but it can also come together with you feel very nauseated. You
Mm-hmm.
can feel like you want to vomit, and then maybe like some shortness of breath, like very difficult to take in a deep breath. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Okay,
that
ladies and men, if you're listening, let your tell your wives, right? Be alert. Just listen to your body, as we always say.
Yeah, so interesting because I do have people like, when they already come with a major heart attack, and when you ask like a further history, have you ever experienced any type of pain? Yeah, they do say, I did, like, doctor, maybe like a month ago, I did have pain, but I didn't know that this could be like a symptom, because they don't know. So
Yeah.
I hope that whoever was listening out there, just if, especially if you're 48 years and above, and also
Mm-hmm.
you do have like some risk factor, like you have diabetes, you do have high blood pressure, and you do know you have cholesterol, yeah, which putting you on a higher risk. And if you smoke or you are a secondary smoker, a passive smoker, if your husband smokes, so you do know that you have some risk factors, so please get it checked before
Mm-hmm.
you go into like any heart attack or any problems. We
Yeah.
always go for prevention is better than a cure.
And
Yeah.
would you think
And
that
then, yeah,
would
sure,
you
sure,
think that one
continue.
of the qualifying qualities as well is weight, Would weight be a factor? Like if your BMI is high, then you are also in the risk group.
Yes, definitely. So again, goes back, obesity is always like a disease.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another risk factor, but obesity also brings back, it's like it goes into every single risk factor. Even
Yep.
it's a risk factor by itself for the diabetes, it's a risk factor by hypertension and cholesterol.
But
Yeah.
we're not
So
ruling out weight, right? I mean, let's say the person is very slim and their BMI is actually low, right? But they have high stress, they smoke, they drink. Could they be also
yeah,
in the risk group?
yes, so that's that, of course, and definitely we know that doesn't mean if you're thin and if you have a good BMI but you have a normal cholesterol. We have seen so many people with a normal BMI, they look very thin, but they do have high cholesterol, and that comes back because of the eating lifestyle that we have. I would
Mm-hmm.
say, like, especially if our listeners are like from Asian countries, we do know that um our base of food, it comes more from like a fried kind of basis, yeah, which
Yes.
puts you on a higher risk to have cholesterol. Yeah, so yes, it doesn't, obesity itself can be a risk factor, but doesn't mean that if you're fit, and maybe not, I would say fit, I would say that if you're in a normal BMI, but doesn't mean that you don't have cholesterol. So cholesterol itself is another risk factor to for you to develop any
Mm-hmm.
cardiovascular disease.
Okay, thank you for
And then
that.
I will,
I hope that everyone takes
yeah.
note of that.
Yes. And the second one, I would say the thing that we neglect, Michelle, I think is bone health. We rarely talk. I mean, I think even cardiovascular disease, right? Something that, heart attacks, strokes, people do talk about them. But I think something that we don't talk much will be about bone health.
Mm-hmm.
So think about bone health itself in women. So people have to know that the more that you age, you do lose some density of bone,
Mm-hmm.
your bone density.
Yes.
So what happened is you can see like a woman at certain age, they start to have, they tend to become much more smaller, and they can't really sit up straight because of the osteoporosis that's happening. So
Mm-hmm.
the second part is actually bone health. So it is also related mainly on our hormones. So as we age, so on a younger age, we do have like two main hormones in women, which is estrogen and also progesterone. So when you hit like certain age, which is usually above 35 years old, your estrogen start declining. Basically, it starts falling down. And I think after 45 years old, it just go down in like a loop, slope. So it slowly comes down, and then after 45, it just so estrogen is one of the most important thing to maintain calcium in your bone. So when it starts decline, so you start to have, that's why you easily sometimes in elderly people, when they just like older people, when they fall, they tend to have a fracture. Unlike us, if we fall, we rarely have a fracture, but they tend to have because of their bone density,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in women because we lose a lot of estrogen, which is the main hormone that controls our calcium in the body. And I think that is why now we are putting more awareness to people about bone density. So start like taking calcium, but not enough by just taking calcium by itself because calcium needs vitamin D to work together.
Oh,
So
yes.
people have these thoughts of, oh, should I drink more milk? I mean, like, oh, to have more calcium. And most of the milk advertisement will be like, oh, this has calcium. Unfortunately, calcium doesn't work uh, by itself. You need the vitamin D for it to work together. So calcium and vitamin D. And another thing I think most of us know is resistant training. So why is
Mm.
it very important for you to start resistant training in an early
Yes.
age for you to protect your bone. So one is the muscle, and the muscle will protect your bone, and at the same time, it also increase the density of the bone. So when I say why we don't talk about bone health is because I do see that how do I know is my bone is strong enough? Like I did say like cardiovascular, we do know we can do some health checkup. We
Yeah.
can check whether I have diabetes, whether I have hypertension.
Yeah.
I can check my cholesterol level through my blood.
Yes.
What can I do? Usually, we don't have do we have something that I can check whether my bone is good enough? Is it strong enough? But yeah. So we actually do have what we call as DEXA scan. It's a DEXA scan. So basically, it's like a scan, but it is rarely done, especially I think in like Asian countries. And the main reason is because it is expensive. So you can
Ah.
maybe do it like maybe in Malaysia, you can do it in private. They
Mm-hmm.
offer you for a DEXA scan. We rarely do it in a public hospital because one is expensive, but we do it in a certain cases if they require a DEXA scan.
Yes.
But
Okay.
it's not something like, we do like a health screening test for a DEXA scan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do have like, all those machines, like in-body composition kind of thing.
Yeah, they have this as well,
Yeah,
right?
yes, body analysis kind of thing. Yeah, we do have like in-body analysis where sometimes you can just step on that like weighing machine kind of thing, which reads your muscle mass, bone
Mm-hmm.
density, and we have another thing which you have the one that you hold um, with your hand. So the one that you're holding with your hand, it is much more accurate compared to the one you are just going to step on the weighing machine.
Ah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, I've
yeah,
seen those
because the one
machines.
that you're yeah, the one you're stepping could be just like estimation, which I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a lot of differences. But the one with holding one, it's more accurate, but definitely for the most accurate and more specific one will be doing a DEXA scan. Basically, it is like you going through like a scan machine, like a CT scan.
Yeah.
So that's a DEXA scan. So I think number two will be bone health, especially in women that we don't really talk much about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another one will be pelvic floor. I think we
Sorry?
don't talk much about pelvic floor kind of disease. Like,
Pelvic floor. Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
we don't talk so much, right? But it is actually one of the important thing in women's health. Like, we rarely talk about, how many of us will actually talk about pelvic floor. But I mean, I do hear people talk about it after giving birth. Like people will talk about diastasis recti, like having the split of the abdominal muscle. But usually we only talk them like we hear about them after people giving postpartum, like after
Mm-hmm.
delivery. Yeah, we talk about it. But you know, Michelle, that once you get older, that especially for those women who have given birth more than 3 times and a normal vaginal delivery, you are at the risk of developing urinary incontinence when you're older. That is why even sometimes when you sneeze, you
You,
tend to have some urine leakage or even sometimes a cough. Yeah, this happens a lot. I think anyone who's listening to our podcast and anyone who's listening and watching this, so they have to know about why are you having this symptom. It's actually
mm-hmm.
because you have how would say the muscles are not strong anymore because we don't train them when you are in a younger age, and it's putting you on the risk, especially if you have more kids and more vaginal delivery. Yeah, that puts you in a higher risk to get all these like not only having incontinence, but you also easily will have some prolapse. If you ever heard that people will say, oh, I think I have like my uterus prolapse, it's like something coming out from my abdomen. Yeah, it's because you have a would say your pelvic floor muscles are weak
Mm-hmm.
because you have gone through all this. You know, when you're pregnant, it's like your abdomen, your uterus have stretched, but you did not put it back in the right place. It's not the muscles are not strong enough. Yeah. So this is, I think, another thing that usually women neglects how important it is. It's a simple exercise that can be done. And
Yeah.
I think even Michelle, you can share all those exercises.
Yeah, we'll do it.
You
I'll
know,
do a video on that. I have been doing it in my class lately, pelvic floor muscles, and my students enjoy it, men and women, because they, I think, 'cause they do a lot of strength training and running. So they said, "Oh, Michelle, today's class, my pelvic feels great. Thank you for it." And it came from a guy, so I was like, oh, it's appreciated.
like, yeah, because I think it's not something that, we exercise, like, running. Even running for women, you have to remember all this putting you at the risk because it's actually putting on more pressure on your
Mm-hmm.
pelvic floor. And
Yeah.
pelvic floor is one of the most important muscles because it holds the main core of our body. Yeah.
Correct.
So I think this is like, I would say that this is things that I would say like we neglect kind of thing. We don't talk much. Usually when we talk about health, we always talk about diabetes, being obese, and like high blood pressure, we talk about cholesterol. So we talk about all these cardiovascular disease, we talk about stroke, but we don't talk about simple things but actually I think whoever who's listening, especially, all those people who's above 50 might have experienced this, when they start to sneeze, they have some leakage or even cough. They just like not a lot, but it just drops like a drip. Yeah, because they have I would say weak pelvic muscles.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I
Uh
think we've covered a lot. Anything else, Dr. Lina?
There's more, but I would say so. I would just put in, I would say, so
Mm-hmm.
if you are developing any symptoms, sometimes, especially in women's, just don't take it lightly. Sometimes it means something, and especially if the symptoms are repetitive, means it's coming and again.
Yeah.
Maybe as simple as like just a gastric kind of pain, but sometimes it means something. So don't take symptoms that appearing likely. I'm saying that, but sometimes even when I have something or experience something, I'll be like, oh, I'll self-diagnose myself. But start thinking, it could be a signal saying, okay, something is wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking about self-diagnose, everybody goes to Mr. Google, right? So, but our listeners out there, if you're not a qualified doctor like Dr. Lina, please do not self-diagnose. Please go to a doctor.
Yeah, and plus Michelle, right now I think we have a lot of access not only to Google, we have like ChatGPT. You just need to
Mhm.
insert whatever symptoms that you have, and then you will come up with like maybe 100 differential diagnoses. But I just wanted to say it's okay. I mean, it's always good for you to, Google and get to know what could it be. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's good. Sometimes, like especially when it comes like ChatGPT, you will just put like cancer. The, but when you put, you will be scared and you will go to the hospital. It's good to have some knowledge behind,
Yeah.
but saying that don't try to not only diagnose but try to treat yourself. That is where usually people do wrong. So what you should do is it could be this based on the symptoms that you have presented, but please go and seek a professional help care. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for our listeners out there, just to recap, the three main things that we tend to neglect is our cardiovascular health. So if you have symptoms like pain in the back, especially in your left side, and then like reflux, right, Dr. Lina?
Yeah,
Yeah.
reflux.
And if it's constant and repetitive, please go get it checked. And then secondly would be our bone density. So you can use a proper in-body machine, which are available in gyms if you do not have access to the actual test in hospitals. Yeah. So go for the ones where you not only stand, but you actually grip on something. As Dr. Lina said, that is more accurate. And it's not just about drinking calcium, but it's about getting vitamin D. And in my head, Dr. Lina, vitamin D is from the sun. Where else can we get it?
Yeah, but even to say even now sun is like, the first time people say it's below 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. in the morning that has the best vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
But saying that now our sun also contains UV. which is also not good for your health. So sometimes it's always good just if you're taking like some calcium supplements, you can take on with the vitamin D. And I think we do have supplements that comes vitamin C, sorry, calcium with vitamin D together. Most of the, I think, products. But just by
Mm-hmm.
taking calcium, yeah, just wanted to remind our listeners that some people has this focus of just taking calcium, but they
Yeah.
don't have enough vitamin D. It comes together. You need both of them together.
And then the third one would be our pelvic muscles. So men and women, especially women who have given birth 3 times and above vaginally, you need to take care of yourself. And it's not too late to start working out, right, Dr. Lena, to build that muscle,
No,
right?
it's never too late. It's always good, if you can do like Kegel exercise, which is, not something that you need to spend like an hour just, doing that exercise. But yeah, so it's good to start wherever you are right now, just start doing them. You can actually just Google or go to YouTube, how do I do like pelvic floor muscle exercise
Mm-hmm.
just to strengthen them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so wow, we covered this in just one session today. So thank you for that. So before we close, Dr. Lina, is there any one thing that you want to say out there, especially that is connected to Women's Day today?
Um, Actually, there's a lot more that I want to share about women because I think woman is very complex.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to say, because we do change a lot. What do I mean? We change a lot means from we being a kid, like from a baby, being into like a toddler, and then
Mm-hmm.
becoming into a teenager. So we have from the teenager, and then we become into the adults, and then going into the older age. So our hormone changes. Like we are not the same as men, so we have a lot of changes in the hormone, and like at each step of the age that we are going through, we have a lot of different hormonal changes that actually affects our physical health. So I think we didn't get go through to like up to perimenopausal stage and everything.
Yeah,
So so
I
it
think we
is
can
very
cover that in the
complicated.
next episode, doctor.
Oh yeah, that's very good. Like, maybe if to our listeners, so please, because you need to know that because we are very complicated. It's not as simple as like, oh, I've been taking care of my health. Doctor, I've been eating very well. I've been eating exercising as usual, but I'm putting on weight. Why? I'm especially, oh, I can see my tummy is getting bigger and bigger, but I've been doing the same thing. Why? So to answer that, we need to understand our body, how our hormone change according to our age, and what's actually happening to our body. And why am I feeling more tired right now compared to the last time where I'm still doing the same thing, but I'm feeling more tired. So
Mm-hmm.
I think being woman is very complex because we have a lot of hormonal that influence our body, and also it impacts our physical health. So I just wanted to remind to all women out there. So it is important to know not only the sign, for you to know the sign and symptoms, you need to have the knowledge. So always find out what is happening to your body. And if you are having something and you feel something is not right with your body, please go and get help. Don't
Mm-hmm.
wait till something happen. It's
Yes.
already, yeah. So at least go and seek a professional help. It's okay. At least just get, like a routine physical health screening, especially at the age 35 and above.
Mm-hmm.
So start early for prevention better than cure. So I think I would put that like today's takeaway. I think prevention is better than cure. So
Yes.
at least start early, go seek, yeah, at least whatever that can be prevented. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ina. I think that's perfect. Prevention is better than cure. I personally believe that, and I always tell my customers and my clients that as well. So if you're listening today, here's your gentle reminder. Your body is not a machine that exists to support everyone else's dream. It is your home. And so when you care for your bodies, not out of vanity, but out of respect, that's empowerment. So in the spirit of International Women's Day, we celebrate strength. And this year, let's celebrate sustainable strength. This is the Tides Within, where well being becomes leadership.